Well, in 1979, the world was introduced to Ripley, the space warrant officer turned xenomorph fighter played by Sigourney Weaver in the movie Alien. Now, since then, there's been a parade of sequels leading to the 9th film of the series, Alien Romulus, which opens today. And our film columnist Jason Gorber is here to let us know if the new film does the original justice. Hi, Jason.
What I love about this, I mean, you can't say this on radio, but you hugged yourself, which is great because this is a face-hugging movie. I mean, this is the whole thing. Like, you watch an alien movie and you get hugged by this giant xenomorph, which, is a fancy name for the big alien thing who has babies that hug your face and try to strangle you and stuff like that. So,
okay.
We get more of the fun.
I see kind of where you're going with that.
I'm just saying there was some Freudian stuff going on.
Okay, this is the 9th film of this series. Did we need a 9th?
No, of course not. And yet, we are gifted with this film, which I liked a lot, actually. So, here's the deal. This is a film directed by Fede Álvarez, who's actually weirdly made a career out of sort of resurrecting, that's Alien Resurrection is another movie, of sort of playing within the sandbox of existing genre films, right? So he did a new version of of Evil Dead, rather. He sort of came on the scene with Don't Breathe, which was very original. But he comes into Ridley Scott's playground here, and sets the film chronologically between Ridley Scott's 1979 version and the Aliens, which is the James Cameron version. And this film literally is the hybridized baby of those two films. So if the first film is sort of this incredible post-Star Wars horror in space with space truckers, and James Cameron does Space Marines, this is a bunch of 20-somethings running around a ship getting murdered, but in the style of Ridley Scott with some of the action and the intensity of James Cameron.
Okay.
And so if you've never seen any of these films, if that's possible, but if you've never seen any of them, it's fun. It's good. It's a summer horror sort of, but mostly sci-fi, but mostly monster movie fun. And if you've seen them all, this is clearly a throwback in the best of ways of reminding us that there's something to be said about being in a dark corridor while the lights are flashing and this giant thing is coming to attack you. There's a visceral thrill about returning to this version of the Alien story.
Jason, you kind of like aliens, eh?
Look, I like Alien a lot. But the last two, like Ridley Scott's done the last two, and they've, with Fassbender, and they're great, but they're a little bit ponderous. They're a little bit pretentious, for lack of a better word. They're trying to add this narrative to the thing. And there's a purity to the original Alien of just like you're in a dark space and something's coming to kill you is a really great way of doing it. And it's what the 1950s was full of, these sort of B monster movie stuff. And the original Alien is a classic example of one of these, again, post-Star Wars movies when the studios didn't know what the heck to do. Mm-hmm. They had this... You had this film that was this enormous success, the most successful film of all time at the time, and they decided, you know what, we're going to see what scripts are sort of kicking around and actually do something. They took this idea and like, oh, people like space, so let's do this. And elevated into a masterpiece. The original Alien is incredible. The original camera film was a lot of fun. When I was a kid, it was amazing. But obviously, as you get older, you appreciate the first one even more. Then people like David Fincher did films. Jean-Pierre Jeunet. People have lived in the world of these characters. It's such a visceral, it's such an incredible design, originally influenced by Giger and many other designers, to create this very strange and seductive beast that is out to kill a bunch of people. And what Alvarez has done here is he's gone back to that world, given us much younger protagonists, and made us care about the characters while actually creating this world again.
Interesting. Okay, I got about a minute here, Jason, but what is the legacy of Alien and the character Ripley, when you think of even pop culture?
I mean, many people see her as this incredible feminist icon of the woman who survives when everyone else dies. This was very groundbreaking at the time where it came out, and we very much have this sort of echoed here. Kay Spenny is playing the lead, but a shout out to David Johnson, who's in this amazing film called Rye Lane that came out last year. He's fabulous as a synthetic. There's complicated references to the original that some people won't like necessarily. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I think the legacy of Alien is that there is a purity of doing genre films like this where you can have visceral thrills within a sci-fi environment and actually enjoy it. And I think visually it's great. I think to see this with a crowd on an IMAX screen is one of the great things of the summer. I definitely think you should check it out, even if you've never seen any Alien film.
Honestly, you should see how big Jason is smiling right now. Jason, I just want to ask, so if I've never watched any of them and I needed to binge a few, which ones do you go to before you hit the theater?
For sure, do it in chronological order. See the first one. If you've never seen the first one, it really is tremendous. It's kind of amazing how it was made. Very analog. And see the James Cameron one. And if you see both of those, the one from the 70s, the one from the 86, I guess it is, see both of those and then go into this, you are totally set. And then go back. If you're going to watch Alien 3, you're going to watch the Fincher one, you're going to want the director's cut. But that is some deep movie nerding going on. And a shout out to Resurrection, a shout out to Alien 4, which I actually love a lot.
Oh, man.
Written by Joss Whedon, Jean-Pierre Jeunet doing it. So if you only ever watch the first 4, but don't do that. Watch the first 2 if you're going to sort of go up on it, and then watch this one. You'll have a very good time in the theater.
You're nerding out, Jason. Great to have you on the show today.
It's aliens. Aliens.
Jason Corver is Metro Morning's columnist and editor-in-chief of ThatShelf.com. Alien Romulus lands in theaters today.
Shelf.